In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful. I'm going to continue with this distinction between universals, principles, and parameters. Okay, let us go to page 22. Okay, in this page you can find a sentence, the sentence 35. Alexander Fleming was the man who discovered penicillin. Alexander Fleming was the man who discovered penicillin. If you actually look at the who in this sentence, you see that the sentence has got something like a relative clause. A relative clause beginning with introduced by who? The man who discovered penicillin. Okay, penicillin. Okay, this is a relative clause. Okay. What is the position of it? Well, Alexander Fleming was the man who discovered, okay, who actually appears as the subject of the relative clause, okay? In 35, who is the subject of the relative clause, okay? Let us go to sentence 36. In 36, we have, this is the house that Jack built. Okay? Well, again, there's another relative clause. Okay, in 36. In 36, there's another relative clause introduced by that. Okay? That Jack built. This is the object relative clause. Why? Because that is the object of the house that Jack built. It is the opposite of 35. The man who discovered, the man who is the subject of the verb discovered, okay? But in 36, it is that Jack built what? The house. The house is that Jack built is the object. Well, let us go to 37. In 37, John was the man they gave the prize to. John was the man they gave the prize to. Okay? You see again, there's another relative clause. Another relative clause in 37. The man that they gave the prize to. Of course, there's a that, and that is missing here. Okay, it's like this. John was the man that they gave the prize to. They gave the prize to the man. Okay, so it is an indirect object. The man here and that here appears as an indirect object. Well, let us go to 38. They stopped the car from which the number plate was missing. From which, okay? It is from which, so we can say it is a preposition, okay? A noun after a preposition, okay? From which, okay? If you actually go to 39, okay, you see there's again another relative clause. With a subject, no. With object, no. With indirect object, no. With a preposition, no. What? In 39, we have the man whose picture was in the paper. He is the man whose picture was in the papers. As you see, we have the word whose, and whose shows, in fact, something like a possessive construction. Okay? So, this is 39. Now, let us go to 40. the last one. The building that Canary Wharf is taller than is St. Paul's. The building that Canary Wharf is taller than is St. Paul's building. Okay? It means St. Paul's building is taller than Canary Wharf building. Okay? We can say something like this. The building that Canary Wharf is taller than is St. Paul's. Okay? So here we have the object of comparison, okay, as a relative clause. So there are different types of relative clauses. In 35 we have subject relative clause. In 36 we have object relative clause. In 37 we have a prepositional object, an indirect object relative clause. In 38 we have a preposition relative clause, okay? And in 39 we have a possessive relative clause. And in 40 we have the object of comparison relative clause. Well, there are different types. So far we said that there are different types of relative clauses here, okay, with different kinds of syntactic functions, okay, subject, object, etc. Well, they have studied different languages and found that there is a kind of a hierarchy like this. Look at my hand, hierarchy, okay? The most important are up and the lower ones are not so important. This is called a hierarchy. And there's an accessibility hierarchy in languages, not only English, not only in Arabic. Languages that have subject relative clauses may in fact have object relative clauses. And languages that have object relative clauses may have indirect object relative clauses. And languages that have indirect object relative clauses can have object of comparison, object of preposition relative clauses, and so on. This appears on page number 41. We call it as an accessibility hierarchy. So a language that has an object of comparison relative clause has got all those that are before it. It is a kind of hierarchy. But a language that does not have the last one, well, may in fact have something like the previous ones have it or not have it. It's like this. So this is like this. Look at number 41. Languages that have, for example, go to the middle of it. Somewhere in the middle you have object of preposition, okay? Languages that have object of preposition relative clauses have all of them have the previous ones as well, but not the ones that are after that, okay? Maybe these languages have the ones that are after it, or they may not have it, okay? There are two possibilities, okay? But the ones before it, they are available. We call this as an accessibility hierarchy. In English, because as you see, there's 35, 36, 7, 8, and 9, and 40, and 4. We say the accessibility hierarchy is like full. It is full, okay? But in another language, it may be something present or absent. Well, the whole thing that appears on page 22 shows that there are universals in languages. Different languages have universals, okay? So they could be principles of all languages. I'm going to talk about the rest of the materials in the next presentation. Thank you very much.